Hey guys, how y'all doing? I'm here to give you guys a recap on the new episode of RWBY Volume 5 or Chapter Volume 5, which is on episode or Chapter 12. This episode right here, wow! Like, literally, wow. Because, I am pretty shocked to see what was revealed at the end, but it also gives me questions along with what's been happening. Because, if I understand it correctly, maybe sooner or later, hopefully I'll get my question answered. And just by the looks of it, we're going to get more than 12 chapters or episodes. Because the way how it ended off, No. You cannot just end Volume 5 out right there. I'm pretty sure those of you guys who watched the episode or chapter will know what I'm talking about. Those of you guys who are just watching this recap for the fun of it and just want to know what's happening in the next chapter or episode, you're going to be missing out. Unless you have a membership on Rooster Teeth. But you know what I'm saying. Aside from me rambling on my reaction and everything else, let's just get this started. We have to it that after the opening, obviously, we have to it that Oscar ends up managing to hold off Leo for now by slapping him with the cane while John himself goes to Weiss after being injured by Cinder. And we have to it that Hazel tells Leo that boy's making you look like an idiot. Hello. As for Oscar, he goes to RWBY and so does Nora. And we have to it that Hazel was told by Leo that that's not just no ordinary boy. It's Ozpin. Hazel, on the other hand, had so much rage and anger in his eyes and screams at Ozpin's name and therefore says, you're gonna pay for what you did. You're gonna die over and over and over again and again and again. And therefore he has a couple crystals that he held in his hands and stabs him in his arms and transforms into and he goes into a giant hulkier version of himself and has someone electricity going through his veins. While Cinder asks Vernal and Raven to come with her, we have to it that Cinder asks Leo to open to the location to the vault, which Leo does with his pocket watch and allows him to go there. As for Jean, he is trying to keep Weiss stable along with Ren. Yang, on the other hand, looks at his mother and looks at the other people, but Nora tells Yang, go and stop him. We got it here. And we have to it that Yang was trying to stop her mother along with Cinder and Vernal, but she gets blocked off by Mercury and Emerald, which apparently end up fooling her with illusions and taking advantage of her. As for Jean, he ends up trying to keep Weiss stable and alive, while Cinder, Raven, and Vernal goes down to the vault. As for Hazel, he is literally trying to hit Oscar right now, and Ozpin tells Oscar, let me take over, but Oscar says, no, let me handle it. And we have to it that Crow was trying to help Oscar out and Ozpin at the same time when Hazel was about to deliver a devastating blow on Oscar, a possible fatal blow. And we have to it that that Oscar's like, what's your problem? Why do you have so much hate against Ozpin? And Hazel tells Ozpin, who's in Oscar, says, go ahead, Ozpin, tell him how you killed her. And Ozpin explains to Oscar that Hazel had a little sister that wanted to become a huntress and enrolled at Beacon. However, against her brother's wishes. That was against her brother's wishes. And she died on a training mission eventually, which became very tragic, and that's why Hazel blames Ozpin for her death. And Oscar asked Hazel, did she know the risks about being a huntress? And Hazel's like, she was just a little girl, what else? And therefore, Oscar says, she made the choice though. You can't just blame Ozpin for all of this. It was her decision to become one. And therefore, enraged about this, Hazel says, then you're just going to die now, you hear me? And therefore, Ozpin forcibly decides to take over Oscar because it's beyond his own reach, and therefore has somewhat of a good agility on him. As for Jean and Ren, we have to it that Weiss may not be able to make it, but Jean, on the other hand, who's crying greatly and doesn't want to lose Weiss as a friend, somehow activated his semblance, which apparently is healing her, surprisingly. And we have to it that must have been Jean's semblance. I was hoping for it to show up eventually because, you know, when it comes to stress and everything else, your semblance activates. Think about that time with Ren when he was a young child. I mean, you guys get the point. Then it switches to a scene with Cinder, Raven, and Vernal going down the vault, having to have a little small conversations here and there. And we have to it that they arrived to the vault, apparently. But the sad thing is that, like, well, it's not a sad thing, but it looks like to me it's really spring, the way you look at it. And we have to it that, that Ozpin is literally holding his own against, Hazel himself because of his small stature and his agility as a fighter. But as for Leo, who's trying to interrupt, etc., we have to it that Crow stops Leo from interrupting and takes him on. And we have to it that that the fight between Hazel and Ozpin seems to be a little bit on par. Well, in terms of agility, Ozpin, who took over Oscar right away, actually has the advantage in a certain way. As for Weiss, she's actually being healed by Jean's semblance, and RWBY is actually happy with that and tells Jean to keep doing what you're doing. As for RWBY, she looks at Yang struggling very badly against Emerald and Mercury due to Emerald using hallucinations on her. And we have to it that that RWBY looks at Oscar and Crow being overwhelmed apparently, and Leo being a traitor, etc. We have to it that that we see Weiss's wound right now being healed up by Jean's semblance, which involves healing apparently. And RWBY tells Jean not to stop, and we have to it that RWBY says that Ozpin, Oscar, and Crow needs help, and Ren says, I'm on it. And we have to it that Nora will protect Jean and Weiss while Jean's healing up Weiss, you know? And we have to it that RWBY interferes with Mercury and Emerald ganging up on Yang, and they get ready to fight. As etc. We have to it that, of course, I missed the scene where Crow takes a devastating blow from Hazel when he pushed Oscar out of the way, which must have really hurt. And we have to it that we go to a scene in the vault where Cinder, Vernal, and Raven are like are pretty much going to open the vault very soon. And as for Raven, it looks like to me she was about to like make a move or something, but Cinder, who does not know, says, you know, people say that you're clever, you're a good leader, and you're a caring one. But apparently Cinder, on the other hand, says, you know, the sad thing is, too bad that they're wrong. And Raven realizes this and tries to scream at Vernal in warning, but it was too late. We have to it that Cinder freezes up Raven while Vernal gets stabbed in the stomach by Cinder's hands. That looks like that's all black and grim. And we have to it that Cinder says, it's nothing personal. It's just like you don't deserve this power, okay? So I'm going to take what is rightfully mine. And therefore gives Vernal agonizing pain. And as for Raven, it looks like to me she's breaking open. It looks like to me Raven's trying to break open the ice right now. And as for Cinder, she was looking for the power of the Spring Maiden that's in Vernal and realizes it's not there and says, I don't get it. Where is it? Why is it not there? And we have to it that Raven tells Cinder, you won't find it. Because Vernal is not the Spring Maiden. And reveals at the end that she is and says, I am the Spring Maiden. And her eyes glow red. And I think in my mind, holy mother cracking hell. I'm like, what? Freaking Cinder, man. I mean, I should never have... Oh, man. Cinder was planning on betraying Raven and Vernal on the start and take the powers for herself. Oh, man. Well, I don't think it should not come to much of a surprise, but I never thought she'd be freaking like, disloyal to her promise or breaking her promise. But I'm pretty sure all you guys might be thinking, dude, Cinder is Salem's subordinate and she wants power. You should realize that. I know, but still, you know, aside from that reveal at the end of Raven being the Spring Maiden makes me question, like, why is it that when Ruby activated her eyes in a blinding white flash that it did not weaken Raven, but it weakened Cinder instead? Maybe because, like, the power Cinder has to maybe steal a power, like her black arm that's revealed at the end of this volume or chapter. Do you think that's the reason why Cinder is weakened or something? That's a question I'd like to know, because Salem did mention, like, because of the power you have, it brings a crippling weakness, which I question. If the Maiden's power have a quick crippling weakness, why is it that it affects Cinder but not Raven when Ruby activated her eyes in the last episode or chapter on episode 11 or chapter 11? You guys know what I'm getting at, right? But I'm pretty sure all you guys might be saying it might be because of Cinder having that black arm thing that reveals at the end, which I also theorize or having a hypothesis on. So that's the reason why I question, if the silver eyes does not affect Raven, does it affect Cinder because of the black grim arm she has to steal powers, you know? You guys know what I'm saying, right? Hopefully. But aside from that, like I said, and we get to know about why Hazel sides with Salem, or why Hazel hates Ozpin so much, is because he blames Ozpin for the death of his sister on a training mission and holds him responsible. And of course, that was just a big fight in the end, you know. And as for Jean, like I said, Jean, oh my gosh, his semblance was healing Weiss. So I had a feeling that was going to show up eventually about Jean's semblance. I'm pretty sure everyone was hoping for Jean's semblance to activate. But you know, when it came to Jean himself, I had a feeling it was going to be healing because he puts his hands on Weiss and says, no, please don't die or something. I'm thinking in my mind, wait for it, Jean's semblance, and it shows up, and yeah. And as for Ruby, she ends up waking up, having to help out Yang, and as for Nora, she protects Jean and Weiss while Ren goes help out Ozpin and Crow against Hazel and freaking Leo, that traitorous little I don't know, but yeah. Anyways, the chapter episode was really cool. The ending was shocking, but it questions me, like I said, if the silver eye, why is it that the silver eyes affected Cinder of a blinding flash compared to Raven, who was not really affected at all, or possibly not shown, but who knows? You guys know what I'm saying, right? But I'm pretty sure, like I said in my hypothesis or theory, and I'm pretty sure you guys might have the hypothesis and theory too, that it might be because Raven does not have the black arm grim-like thing that Cinder has, that was shown at the end of this chapter or episode. That might be the case, but I don't know. But the way how it ended here, it's not going to end in 12 episodes or chapters in Volume 5. I think that was supposed to be hinted at a long time ago. I mean, I wasn't so sure though, because I don't know, I'm just being idiotic. But aside from that, chapter episode, very surprising. The ending right there, like Raven was the Spring Maiden the entire time instead of Vernal. Holy crackalack, dude. Holy smoly guacamole, mother of all creation. Whoo-wee! So, yeah, until then, I will see you guys in my next video. So, I'm Alpha Zero, people. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys in my next video. So, but the question is, how is it that Raven got her hands on the Spring Maiden's powers? Is it because it was passed on to her, or something like that? Or did Vernal give that power to Raven in a certain ritual? I don't know. Whoever the case may be, we'll have to find out later. Hopefully that will get revealed soon. That's another question. So until then, peace out. Bye-bye. Toot-toot-toot!